Oh, Barbie, we are here finally, and I am so excited. I'm so excited for people to get to know you, get to know your heart, see the person that I have been surrounded by for several months now. I don't think it's a year yet that we've been part of the Women's Journal together, but every time I hear you speak, I learn more about you, and I definitely feel more of your heart. And that is so extraordinary in itself. But Barbie Ray, why don't you go ahead and tell us where you are in the world, because we have a global audience, and then just a tiny little teaser about you, because we're going to get into it.
Well, first, thank you for having me. I think you're right. I don't think it's been quite a year yet, but it's been an extraordinary journey, and it's been a pleasure getting to know you. So I'm very excited to be here today. So thank you. And I am in the Midwest of the United States, where it loves to snow and be cold and nasty. And I am a resilience expert. Is probably the biggest teaser.
I love it. I love it. So, a resilience expert. Now, we know that most times when somebody becomes an expert, it is because of their own life's experiences. So, why don't you take us down a little bit of that journey?
Well, so I guess the quickest way is to say that I was bullied horribly as a child. So I carried it's like I always say it's like gum stuck to my shoe. I carried those negative thoughts into my adulthood. And so I'm a coach and I work with a lot of people that carry these negative thoughts. And I know where mine came from. A good chunk of them came from those horrible kids that tormented me. And it lasted all through school. So I mean, some of those kids were still trying to bully me even in high school. So yeah, it was a difficult time. And those voices are a battle, but we all have those. So that was one of my big ones. And then I'm also considered the Grim Reaper's favorite chew toy. That is because I was struck by lightning. I was attacked by a swarm of bees, which is where I learned I was allergic. I survived carbon monoxide poisoning when the Nicor gas person said that my whole family should be dead. I fell down a flight of stairs. I was paralyzed completely on many days for a year and a half. No surgeon would operate. And they put me on every medication. I was my own pharmacy. I had it all. You name it, from morphine to scalaxin to Vicodin to Valium. I was popping more pills every 20 minutes because in my head, if I was in that much pain, 6 hours must have gone by.
Mm.
So I literally had more pills in my system than many people have died from. Um,
Wow.
Still here.
And you're still here. So you guys seen my reaction when she said that she's the Reaper's chew toy, and I cheered, not because she was had all these things happen to her, but because she's here standing and she is supporting and empowering others. So when we take something like our life's experiences and all that chaos and that turmoil and that things that happen to us, and we come out the other side, literally as a warrior, like you are such a badass. I'm going to say that badass you are. It is just beautiful. You see, I see the love ripple from you. I see the passion. And nobody can say, well, she doesn't get me because you've been through it. So you are relatable and you know the path through this type of turmoil and this struggle. So I'm sorry that all those things happened to you. It's
Okay.
horrible. And I am so proud of you and proud to know you that you have taken your life's chaos and turned it into doing good in the world, because that, my dear, is extraordinary. And I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, I'm one of those people, and it's funny, my whole life, I've been approached by people of all different age groups. Even when I was a child, the neighborhood teenagers would get relationship information out of me. They would literally come from miles. Now, I had no idea what I was talking about, but I must have been fabulously good at it because they all came and asked me questions like I'm some oracle. Even adults were asking me at 8 years old, Even adults were asking me relationship questions at 8 years old. I have no idea, but I was obviously giving good advice because one of them ended up getting married to the guy she was having trouble with. So it's been that way my whole life. I literally will go to a restaurant, go to wash my hands. My food is getting cold on the table, and I'm 20 minutes in the bathroom because I've been cornered by somebody who's having a rough time. And so it's funny because being a resilience expert and having all these things happen to me, and then having all of this advice that I've been spewing my entire life, I really own this ridiculous volume of people's stories. So
Yeah.
when when I finally actually got the help I needed after falling down the stairs, and then of course the grueling opioid addiction I had to get rid of, I had been told for years, Barbie, you've got to help everybody. You can't just help your friends. Now that's difficult because when you have a sphere of people that depend on you, now you're asking me to go global, but when I survived, when I survived everything I survived, I knew. I knew I was still here for a purpose. And that was that it was time. I had to go global. I had to help as many people as I could, not just in the Midwest of America, but, and I knew it was a purpose that I was still here for. I don't think you survive all these death defying feats if there isn't a reason you're still supposed to be here.
I agree 100%. So let's go down that road a little bit. How did you figure out or logically know and then accept and embody it in your heart that this was your purpose? Like, I mean, there's a lot of things that happen, and then you come out and you're like, why am I still alive? Like, what is this thing? And I get that your people told you you should serve more people or you could help more people. But when did you actually step into this leadership role?
I think I stepped into the majority of it when I survived the crash down the stairs. I really do because um I'm going to try not to cry here, but oh gosh. My dad told me that I was the most positive um person he'd ever met, and he was so proud of how I kept my sense of humor and my positivity repeatedly when I was told I was never going to walk again. There was nothing they could do. No one wanted to operate. And when he said to me that I was his hero because of that, um, I think I knew that day that teaching people how to laugh in the face of drama and teaching people how to fight anything that is against them and do it with a smile and do it with a sense of humor, that was my purpose in life. And that it was really important that no matter what you're suffering from, and we, especially as women, because women are these amazing creatures that their arm drops off and they're like, honey, can you grab that? I have to get the baby. And so, as women, we just never take care of ourselves the way we should. It takes something catastrophic in our lives to go, we need to take care of ourselves, because when we're not 100%, all the people we take care of are not doing well. And I think it became my purpose in life to really shed light on that and to say, like I said, especially to women, there is nothing we can't accomplish. There is nothing we can't do. And the more you laugh through it, the more we get through it.
Yeah, I love that. So let's go back to that laughter, because I don't believe, or let me reframe this. I do believe that laughter and playfulness and really curiosity are all a choice instead of looking at things from, I'm a victim, this is chaotic, it's never going to work. So I mean, obviously your dad recognized this was something you've had in you all along. What's a piece of advice for somebody to just change and tweak their attitude into what's possible versus this sucks?
I think the biggest thing is, in my world, perspective is the biggest thing. Um, I always tell people there is humor in everything. You have to dig for it. And I have never found being negative to fix anything. It only increases the sadness, the depression, the negative vibrations. So if you find that spin, it exists. I promise you it exists. But even if you can't find it right away, remind yourself that there's always someone who's worse off. And this is the truth. I used to, I haven't in a while, but I'm going to get back to it. I used to sing to handicapped children. The Markland Children's Home kids were these poor, beautiful children. Most of them were being pushed around in these giant iron chairs. And they would trade with you on your worst day. It would be their best day. And I've been teaching people to keep in perspective. There is always somebody who would trade with you at this very moment, no matter how dark it feels. There is someone that would give anything to switch with you for that day. So appreciate, have gratitude, find the spin. There's something funny in every moment, even if it's ironic. Force yourself to laugh, make some jokes, find a funny video of animals on YouTube, whatever it takes, because you're going to release the chemicals in your brain. They're going to help you get through this event. Life happens, and there's a lot of ugly in life, and we can't change that. But what you can change is how you perceive it, how you live with it, and how you affect those around you through it.
Wow. 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 I'm just looking at what direction to go with. And I think that it's important for me to really highlight you as an author, as a speaker, as part of the founding members of the Global Women's Journal. Now, there was maybe a time, and I would love you just to tell the story or the timeline of what this is when you didn't think that you had a message to share. And how did that message come out of you? And now you're very comfortable with sharing your message to the world. Can you take us down that?
Sure. When I was about 10 years old, I had my sister was my world. She actually named me. They didn't have any girl names picked out. So she named me Barbie, and I was her living, breathing Barbie doll. What I didn't know is that she wasn't technically my sister because she actually was my mom's sister's daughter. But I didn't know that. She was just my sister. She'd always been there. She committed suicide at 16 when I was 10. It was that same year we moved away from all the kids I knew. Everyone hated me. That was when the bullying began. And I went down a very dark path. I didn't trust anybody. My parents had actually lied to me, said she died from pneumonia, but I found out on the way to school that morning that she had hung herself. And I didn't trust them. Now, as a parent, I understand now. I do. They couldn't tell me that, but at the time, it was this huge storm of horrible things happening. And so I didn't trust anybody. It was also at the same time that a doctor molested me. So I I didn't feel like I should be alive. I didn't feel like I had any value. Um, I felt like I had let my sister down, that she should never have felt alone. But what I found out is she had been given PCP laced in a Tylenol, and she had had a reaction to it. And that is how she died. It was actually murder. But none of those things I knew at that time. All I really understood was that the world thought I was garbage, so I must be garbage. And I tried to take my own life. I wanted to join her. That was my darkest moment. Fortunately, I was young. I had no idea how to kill myself. And I just took a bunch of pills from the bathroom, and I just drank everything in the back of the bar that I could consume, liquid wise. And I woke up sick as a dog the next day. But here's the thing. on par with my life. I wasn't supposed to go anywhere. I was supposed to be here. I was supposed to share my message and keep people in a bright place. But that was my darkest. And I didn't feel like I deserved to be alive. And it's even those voices today that I battle with. I'm a work in progress like everyone else, but that was what that was my darkest time. And I share that now with people that are sometimes on the edge that say to me, I'm on the edge. I'm like, you're not alone. And I can show you a lot of people on the edge, but you have gifts and there's a reason you're here. Don't, don't cheat yourself and don't cheat the people you love because that really makes a big difference. I would have destroyed the people that loved me, but I didn't have the headspace to understand that at the time.
No, and I mean, the pain you were going through was extreme. So we're very grateful that you didn't know how to kill yourself. I think that's even that you turned into a perspective of funny and playful, because some people, let's be real, some people are teasing or gonna commit suicide but really have no intention, and it really does happen and they can't come back from it.
Yeah.
So thank goodness that you not only didn't know, but that you experienced this and now can really share your story powerfully. The other thing that I want to talk about, and I don't know how much you want to share this, but let's talk about the hurdle you had to go over after the pain pills. So
Oh,
this is not easy. I didn't want to just like fluff over that. Like, you lived in pain, which, like you said, 6 hours felt like it was happening. Has
oh
anybody
yeah.
raised their hand if you've been in pain and you're like, 20 minutes feels like, when is this kicking in? I must need more. And so take us down that journey as much as you're wanting to share on how you overcame that.
Yeah, well, it was so severe. Like I said, I shouldn't be here. I mean, I should not have survived all those overdoses that I had. The only reason I honestly believe I'm here is twofold. One, I think the pain was so awful that my body could never relax. I think you have a tendency to just go into a coma and slip off. I was in so much pain that I was at a 30 on a scale of 1 to 10 at all times. So I don't think my body could ever relax enough to pass on. And the other thing is, I really do believe there's a purpose. I really believe I'm still here to tell the story. And the I and again, it's personal, but my insides shut down. My insides were broken for 10 years. There was no doctor that could fix them. My intestines were gone. They did not work on their own. Nothing was working internally. Um, and that was a 10-year battle that I did with holistic healing is the only reason that my intestines are working again, because no one had an answer for me. And the opioid addiction itself, I spent a lot of time on my bathroom floor talking to the pill bottles. And it's funny because people say, well, did you hallucinate? I don't know. I mean, did the pill bottles talk back? They might have. I can't tell you. I can tell you that I would tell them repeatedly, you have no power over me. Because my husband will walk in and he would say to me, do you want me to take those away? I'm like, no, if you don't leave those here and I don't tell them who's boss, then I'm not going to get through this the way I need to. So but I mean, I would shake. I was so ill. I remember that it tasted like I'd been sucking on rusty metal bars. I have no idea what that is, but it was horrible. And I mean, there were just days after days after days where I thought, am I going to make it through this? And I'd look at those stupid bottles and I'd say, yeah, you lose. I'm going to make it through this.
Oh my. Oh my. So how long did it take you, and what's it like on the other side of an addiction?
It took me at least 6 months before I started getting over all of but again, I mean, the inside's broken, took 10 years.
Yeah.
So, the mental part of it, I think was as silly as this sounds, I think the mental part of it was the easiest in my own head because I threw down a gauntlet. I mean, I felt like I went to war with those stupid pills because I just they had ruled my life for a year and a half.
Yeah.
They had seriously owned me for a year and a half, and I was so incredibly ill, and I just wanted myself back. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I missed me. I missed being a mom. I missed my family. I missed just having a clear head and not being ill. And so I battled. I mean, I would sit on the bathroom floor because it was cold. I was always feeling these like tremors and sickness and everything. So it felt good just sitting on the bathroom floor because it was cold.
Wow.
I I
Wow, wow,
just
wow.
wanted my life back more
Yeah.
than anything, and I just wanted those stupid pills to leave me alone.
Yeah.
It
I can relate to this, and I think that our audience make sure that you're posting if it is relatable or asking questions because it's really important for us to like see ourselves in someone else's stories because not only do we see the suffering and we get to witness and be curious, but we also get to recognize where we maybe had some type of belief or even an emotion trapped in our body that is kind of controlling things. And so I would love for you to share, you've talked a lot about some of the traumas and the turmoils and the things that you went through. And we know that you're this amazing heart-centered entrepreneur that's making a difference in the world. But is there something that you can tell the audience if they're in between those two worlds and they're kind of dancing back and forth? I'm extraordinary. I'm going to do great things. I have a mission. I have a purpose. No, there's nothing extraordinary about me. I'm invisible. I don't, nobody even notices I'm here. What if they're just floating between those two worlds?
Well, first of all, everybody has a gift. Everybody. I have and let me tell you, I know the stories of thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And every single person that ever spoke to me, asked my opinion, or just unloaded a bad day into my lap, every one of them had a gift. And almost always it came out through their stories. So whatever gift you have, find it. You may have many, many gifts. I found that most people have many gifts. Seek out the gifts that you have, the parts of your life and stories that are unique, that you can share with people because everything that you've done is a different pathway. Share that. I guarantee you, you're going to help people because they need your stories. They need your experience. They need your gifts and they need your life. Never doubt yourself on that. Never. Because I guarantee you, even if you think you've had an ordinary life, when you start jotting down things that have happened to you, surprise, you have not had an ordinary life. There is no such thing. You've had magical moments that you can share. So never doubt yourself.
Yeah, I love that. It takes me back to a dear friend that we have in common, Nicole Cowley. And one day when I met her in person, I'd known her online for a while. And when I met her in person, we just started talking about our lives. And she just kept saying to me, Debbie, like, that's extraordinary. Debbie, you have this gift. Do you recognize that there's a through line here? And I had not seen it. We can often not see ourselves until somebody holds up the mirror and says this thing to us. She easily could connect why I do what I do with some things that had happened, that I'd had a life experience for. Now I'm pretty good at doing that for others. And I had a blind spot. And I think that what I'd love to ask you here is what do you think the relationship between the power of community and the power of our stories, both telling and sharing, because the listening is also important. Can you help us understand the power there?
It's huge because, you know, it's very easy sometimes to feel polarized. It's really easy to feel like, oh, I'm the only one who's ever dealt with it, because we internalize things so easily. But what happens is the more you share things and the more you talk to people, the more that community building starts. And like Debbie, one of the things I love about you is you build safe communities. And those safe communities allow people to connect and share stories. And the more you start sharing stories, the more you start realizing, wow, I didn't realize there were so many other people that had these things happen. There are a lot of things that happened to me in my life that I was uncomfortable sharing. The molestation. I was stalked by two different stalkers. For actually being live for me and being out there in the public is terrifying because I'm always waiting in the background, for one of them to show up or something to happen, or getting a new one. I mean, that's a terrifying thing for me. But the more I share my stories, the more I meet people who say to me, I never told anybody that, or I wish I had met you before, or how did you get through these things? And you start talking and you find more and more people that are so blessed to be in that bubble with other people that have had these experiences. You can't put a price on that. You can't. That is the valuable magic that happens in a safe community. And if you don't share what happened to you, you'll never get that magic of other people saying, oh my gosh, that happened to me, or that happened to my sister, or that happened to my mom. You don't get that if you don't take that risk.
Wow. I cannot believe that just about a half hour has gone by
Oh,
and we could talk forever. So talk about the time just disappearing. Barbie Ray, I want to just ask you, you are definitely a catalyst. You are definitely a change maker. You are a thought leader. You are a coach, a mentor, all of these titles. But in your heart of hearts, how do you describe what you do and how you create a ripple effect across the world?
I think my most magical thing that I coach and teach and do is that I teach people how to find their inner dragon. I think that's, and you could see one above my head. My company's called Empower with Barbie, but I think the most magical thing I do is teach people how to find their inner dragon. And that is that incredible power that every one of us possesses. Let me give you a quick example. Do I have time to give a quick
Yes,
example?
absolutely.
Okay. I had a young person who was crippled with social anxiety. And this sweet person saw the judgmental eyes boring into them everywhere they went. They would hide. They stopped going out. They stopped living their dreams. They actually had a place they'd always wanted to go. And when they went there, they were so crippled by anxiety, they sat on a chair and couldn't participate. And they hid in a corner until it was time to go. I taught this sweet young person how to find their inner dragon. And when this person walks into a place, they feel this giant dragon come out from behind them. And whenever somebody gives them that look, they're trained now to think, oh, buddy, I can blow you over a fence. You behave yourself. My dragon and I are walking in here. We are going to have a good time, and you have no power over me anymore. And this person has transformed. And that is the power of finding your inner dragon. Now, I have one person who couldn't visualize a dragon. It didn't work for them. So they visualize a pack of fennec foxes. And each fennec fox has a personality that protects them or makes jokes or makes them feel like they're part of a pack when they walk into a place. So it doesn't have to be a dragon, but it has to be something powerful in you. And everybody has it. And the only goal is tapping into it. And once you feel that and you wrap that power around yourself, you become unstoppable. And those anxieties and social fears and doubts that you have evaporate. And that is, to me, the most important thing that I help people find is that magical place that every single one of us has. And how you visualize it is all up to you. But it's a power you possess that you wear like a coat. You wear it like this giant coat that protects you from everything. And you no longer feel vulnerable. You no longer feel afraid. You no longer walk on eggshells. You just have that really kind of attitude. And it protects you. And that's probably the most important thing that I do.
Wow, definitely important. One of the things that I talk about to my students when they're creating their message or their course or their program or a retreat, when we're really getting centered on what is your message, what is your desire, I talk about there's somebody out there praying for you. They're
Oh,
wishing, they want you. They're praying that you would show up. When we step into our purpose, we're really answering a prayer. And I
yeah.
think that whether you said it in our interview, because I just got done listening to Jackie's interview as well inside of the Extraordinary Women's Network, is that it's for us first. And so I love that you have ignited your inner dragon, and you've said it many times in different ways during this interview, is that you had to like master that pillbox. It had no power over you. And so with that in mind, as your closing remarks, what is something that you would love to share with the audience today?
Become unstoppable, no matter what life throws at you. Like I said, I'm the Grim Reaper's favorite chew toy, but I laugh about it. And I allow myself to be unstoppable because my purpose is too big to stop. Find your purpose, find your mission, become unstoppable, and be the magic that you want to be because everybody has it. And I know each and every person listening here has it. So be that unstoppable force and make the change you want to change, whether it's just in your tiny sphere or globally. It doesn't matter. You change one life, you make one life better, you've changed the world.
Agreed. I absolutely love it. Being extraordinary doesn't mean that you have to be a world leader making $1 million. It means you're changing one person's lives. So thank you for making that difference, being a catalyst for change. We just love and honor you. And I'm so grateful that you
Oh.
said yes to this interview in amongst all of your Christmas cheer and all of the other things. Barbie Ray, I would love to invite you to go in and make comments in the on the live, but really to share your podcast, your book. Where can people reach you? Because I know that you're answering dreams and prayers today. So thank you.
No, thank you. This was an absolute honor. I just love you, Debbie. I love what you do. I love your safe community building. And I am so honored to be here today. And I would love to make comments. If anybody needs anything, I'm always here. And I will happily speak to anybody about anything that might help.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.